So now that the artifacts have cooled, they've been through the wax process, I'll show you some of them. Now, to give you a backstory, all these iron artifacts came out of the Newport Barracks in Newport, Kentucky. It was a military fort from 1803 to about late 1890s. When it was closed because of frequent flooding, it moved up on the hill into Fort Thomas and became Fort Thomas, the military barracks. So what I have here, a lot of these artifacts, well, pretty much all these iron artifacts came out of one particular area, and that is where the blacksmith shop was from about 1806. And I believe it was probably torn down when they reconfigured the barracks, yeah, I'd say 1820s, I'm not for sure, but all the artifacts that came out of this seam of gun parts, flintlock parts, there were no military buttons past War of 1812. Everything was at about that time period. Some of these artifacts also came out of trash pits, mid 1800s. But for instance, this piece is pretty interesting, being that it came out of that area where the blacksmith shop was. If you look closely, they were fashioning a knife out of a file, and this surface right here is flat, and that surface is concave or convex. So the guy was trying to make himself a knife. Usually I don't do the forks and utensils through this process because it'll have bone cladding on the handles, but this is how it came out of the ground, and I thought, well, I'll preserve it and stabilize it. It's a two-tine fork. I suspect that they were possibly forging iron at the site, because I found a lot of tailings and what appeared to be slag from the process, and they were trying to cast, or they were casting canister balls. You can see the sprue and the vent hole on this canister ball. Like for instance, a flintlock spring. You saw this one before. It's a chewed up breech plug that was broken. A lot of broken bayonets. And again, the ground action on this iron is incredible. Little tiny files. There's a little broken 3-piece file. A lot of broken iron files from the site. You can see even residual cross hatching from the files, and I would guess these date back 1812, maybe 1820s at the very latest. Here's an interesting part. It's a detachable pan, and the interesting thing about it is it was never punched through. There's where the frizzen would have attached, and there was no hole put into it, nor were there any holes for installing it onto the lock. Anyway, that's my take on hot wax, and I can't say enough. It is a very dangerous process. If you're not careful, you can catch yourself and your house on fire.